B, coming B. Oh, they're B.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That was one clip?
Oh yeah, that was ace.
Ace and one clip with the CZ.
They left the rest of this round. Gotcha.
Welcome to my house. Music to
Yay! Choo-choo! Throw your shoes in the chat! Throw your shoes in the chat!
Yes! Ace!
One up there. I don't see anything else.
I'm retaining.
Oh, you're not. I'm not sure.
What? What? Oh no! Oh my god! Allô tout le monde! Allô! Salut Lina! Hi!
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Let me just move your camera so you look stunning. Let me just do that right now. Guys, I'd
That's
like
very
you
kind.
to meet Lina. Hold on, hold on. Like you to meet Lina. She's from Lananim. Can you explain a little bit what your role is at Lananim?
So, hi everyone. I'm very, very happy to be with you tonight. I'm sorry in advance for my bad English because it's not my first language. So, feel free to ask me questions in French or in English. But yeah, that's about it for my language thing. So what I do is I am a project manager at Lananim. So I have a degree in sexology. And what we do at Lananim mainly is to promote safe behaviors and equal relationships. So we are an organization that also prevent the transmission of sexually transmitted and bloodborne infections. And how we do that is we reach out directly to our participants directly in their environment. Sorry. So that's what we do, and we have a sex ed program. That's where I work. So yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, guys, I know. So today we're live on two platforms at the same time. This is the first time I ever do this, and I'm super excited. We're live on Facebook, and we're live on Twitch. So I want to make sure that we are available both in French and English. As you can see here, it's Parlons-en, le sexisme en ligne. Let's talk online sexism. So any question that you want to ask them in your language that you feel the most comfortable. Toutes les questions que vous voulez poser, posez-les dans le langage qui vous est le plus confortable. Et j'ai actually les deux chats en même temps de Facebook et de Twitch, puis on va vous répondre. I have both chat in the same page from Facebook and Twitch, and we're going to do our best to answer all of them. L'anonym, we already have one question. Lena, where is L'anonym located?
Montreal. We are located in Montreal. That's where we make our actions. But now that we are live on Twitch and on Facebook tonight, we reach out outside of Montreal also by these online meetings.
Yes.
Or workshops or discussions.
Yes, this is awesome. And guys, also, I know this is random, but I made this little overlay for Lena and I. But on side note, you can let me know what you think about it, because if I ever start a podcast, I might use that format. I like that there's nothing else but just our face. Okay.
Pretty cool.
It
looks great.
Thank you. J'ai plein de questions. I have so many questions. I don't know if you wanted to start with something or if you want me to start with my questions. It's not the first time you do a session like that. You've done it before on other streams. Tu l'as fait sur d'autres streams au Québec.
Ben, je peux répondre en français puis en anglais après. Fait que, oui, on l'a fait une autre fois avec Epic Joystick et Dominique Babagne. Donc, on l'a fait, c'était au mois de juillet. On a eu une super belle rencontre avec eux, puis c'était vraiment dans le moment où il y avait comme toute la vague de dénonciation qui a eu lieu, là, entre autres au Québec. Fait que c'était vraiment dans cette période-là. Fait qu'on a eu un super bel échange. Les gens étaient au rendez-vous, c'était vraiment cool. Fait que c'est la deuxième fois en fait qu'on le fait. Première fois en anglais. C'est pour ça que c'est un petit peu plus chez mon côté, mais ça va se placer. So what I was saying is that we already did it once with Epic Joystick and Dominique Babagne on Twitch. So it was by the time that we had this this big call out movement in Quebec for sexual assaults and other sexual violences.
I think it was at the same time as the hashtag #MeTooGaming that happened this summer.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It was just after the Twitch blackout.
Okay, yeah, same time about. Yeah. Cool, okay. Il y a quelqu'un qui dit que je pourrais commencer. I could ask a question. But it's also like, would you prefer you jumping into it, or should I ask my question?
I can talk about maybe the project that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So the project is it's actually a sex ed project that we have. We lead workshops in other organizations, for example, in schools with teenagers or in youth centers, for example. So we go in these environments and we lead workshops about violence, sexual violence, or sexual harassment. We also talk about sexism in real life, like sexism on the street, for example. And we also talk about sexism online. We talk about stereotypes, gender stereotypes. And we also have a part that is really online. So that's what we do tonight. And we also had a research component to that project. We led a survey to better understand what were the experiences of young people, so from 12 to 25, related to sexism online. So what they experienced in the last year, and in order to better understand and to have an idea of how it's spread amongst youth in Quebec. So so we wrote a report that should be out, should be launched in October. So maybe keep an eye on that. And we also will be launching videos, to raise awareness around sexism online. So that's for our project.
It's really
so that's
cool.
why we Yeah, thank you.
It's really
Thank
cool
you.
because I think that everything online, to be quite frank, has been something that I talk about all the time in my talks because we have zero education when it comes to online, zero training. Our society just doesn't give us any chance to become an online citizen, a digital citizen, I call it. So
Yeah.
it's great that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, and how we thought about it is that, we often talk about how the environments and the public space is divided between gender and how it should be equally divided between genders, but we don't talk about the public space that is internet and the online world. So that's where it started, and that's what gave us the spark to question that and arrive with that project.
Awesome. Uh, there's already a French question here.
Yeah.
Uh, from I'm gonna ask it in French. Malo demande, existe-t-il des indicateurs qui démontrent une réelle diminution des comportements sexistes en ligne?
I,
Vas-y.
En fait, nous, ce qu'on s'est rendu compte avec le sondage, parce que ce que je disais juste avant pour les personnes qui ne parlent pas anglais, c'est que notre projet est divisé en trois sections. En fait, on a une part qui est vraiment les ateliers où on va dans les milieux vraiment rencontrer les jeunes, parler de sexisme, parler des dynamiques de pouvoir dans la société, parler des stéréotypes de genre. Puis on a des discussions en ligne, puis on a aussi un projet de recherche qui est venu avec ce projet-là, où est-ce qu'on a vraiment. Pardon, j'ai comme postillonné.
On l'a pas vu, on l'a pas vu.
C'est ça, où on a vraiment questionné c'était quoi les expériences de sexisme qui sont vécues par les jeunes de 12 à 25 ans. Puis en fait, on n'a pas vu une diminution des comportements. En fait, on s'est rendu compte que près de 65% des jeunes qu'on a questionnés, on a touché près de 500 jeunes qui ont répondu à notre sondage. Donc, 65% disaient avoir vécu au moins une forme de sexisme dans la dernière année. Puis au-delà de ça, près de 3 jeunes sur 4 en avaient été témoins. Donc, ils connaissaient quelqu'un à qui c'était arrivé ou ça avait été témoin dans une discussion, dans les commentaires, tout ça. Fait que c'est ça. Fait que c'est quand même impressionnant là, comme nombre de dire, on le sait que ça se passe, presque tout le monde le voit, une bonne partie des jeunes le vivent. Fait que, il faut faire quelque chose pour ça. Puis c'est pour ça qu'on a des belles discussions comme ça. Puis c'est ça le but, en fait, c'est d'en parler, puis que tout le monde devienne des alliés finalement là-dedans, tu sais.
Parlez-en, exact, Neroli. Okay, I have a couple questions. Okay. I think that my main problem with sexism online is that I have so many things to ask. But one of them is I never know how to react with sexism because it's so easy to become as soon as you voice up, as soon as you say something about it, as soon as you don't just brush it off as a woman online, then you're like a drama queen, you're a feminazi, or you're like, oh, come on, it was just a joke, like it all of those blah blah, and it's just like, so you kind of want to avoid replying, but at the same time you're becoming that bystander that doesn't say anything about it. So I don't know, like there's a lot of things about sexism online that I've learned to deal with, but I don't think it's optimal. Do you have any advice?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to hear people or read people about it. I wonder what you guys think about it. Like, how should we behave or how should we react to those kinds of situations? Um, as a professional in sexology, I would tell you that everybody has a role to play, and the fact that you feel like that in regarding like towards responding to those comments is a big sign that something is wrong with the environment online.
Yeah.
If you don't feel free to, if you have difficulty to respond to those threats, if you like, that means that it's not a secure environment, and that everybody should play their part and be an ally in those situations. And that not only it's not only the responsibility of women or stigmatized groups to stand up and to talk about it and to say that it's not okay. I think everybody has a role to play in these situations. I don't know if what you think and what
I've
people in the chat think.
never heard that before, and I love it. Nobody ever told me if you feel like you can't reply because you're scared to be even more attacked, then that means it's not a safe environment. Isn't that crazy, chat? So like if someone attacks me in my channel on Twitch, I'll be like, yeah, fuck off, lol. I'll say whatever I want. But as soon as it's like on social media, like on Twitter, on Facebook, that's when I'm like super like watch out, like don't trigger him even more, and
Yeah,
then I get hurt, in the end.
and that reflects so well and in a so clear, like it's so clear that there are gender stereotypes, and that these stereotypes make you feel even more unsafe, or like you feel more of a threat, because you've been taught from a young age to be a victim because you're a woman,
Mm-hmm.
to that there is danger all over you, that you should not speak, or like not make noise or not talk about it, and that the other people, like the males, are the threat. And maybe they are not a threat. Maybe they should be allies with us, or they should act, they have a role to play also, but it's as a community we should stand up, and it's another sign of that is the Twitch blackout or the call out movement. Those were big signs that something was wrong, and that people needed to stand up and to be heard and to be believed in also.
Um, I want to follow up. There's a lot of comments, and I'm loving the
Yeah,
comments.
go ahead.
Okay, it's crazy. This interaction is beautiful. Vansili said something. So Vansili is a friend of mine that's also a front camera personality. He does a lot of casting and whatnot. And he said, I find that online sexism in gaming, especially when it comes to voice communication, ties really closely to online bullying. I'd like to stand up against the person being sexist, knowing that Vansili is a guy. But then it translates to you're a simp. Are you trying to get laid? You're a white knight. So like from him being trying to be an ally, now he doesn't want to become that quote unquote white knight or that quote unquote simp. How do we react? Like how can we be allies without being scared to be called a white knight or a simp?
That's another problem. If allies cannot play their role, that's even toxic here.
Even more
It's
toxic. Yeah.
like yeah, even more toxic. Like me inventing words. Um, yeah. So yeah, that could like men trying to stand up. Maybe they will be called out as white knights or as simps, or like even they can, yeah. Everybody knows what words could be used in those sentences, but we need to do that as a community, and to if somebody is being stigmatized for standing up, I think as a community we should be behind that person, and playing that same message over and over again, that it's not right, that we don't accept it, and we don't um yeah, that we
so
don't endorse it.
So you think it's a ripple effect. So for example, if Vansley stands up, someone else next to him
Yeah,
watching, seeing that Vansley is being called a simp or a white knight should be, no, he's not a white knight. What you said, that's not okay. And like everyone needs to stand up, not just like one ally standing up. Everybody else needs to do their part. Is that what I'm understanding?
exactly. And maybe a good image for that would be, for example, you're on a bus or in the subway and somebody gets harassed, and one person is standing up for that victim, and is being called out as a whatever name you want to call it, well, other people should stand up and be on the side that of that person, standing up for the victim, you know? That's what it's like c'est un effet d'entraînement, là, tu sais.
Yeah,
Je sais pas comment
yeah.
le dire en
Ripple
anglais, mais
effect,
tu sais,
ripple effect. Yeah, yeah.
ripple effect. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I'm
And I
trying.
think the more that is the norm, or the, you know, it's the more we talk about it and we do these kinds of actions, I think the more um it's gonna be like we're gonna get used to it, and it's gonna be a culture, you know, instead of a sexist culture, a toxic environment. It's gonna be a safe environment, and a safe, yeah, a good culture, or respectful culture.
Um, Marjo, and I'm gonna go in French for like a couple minutes, like maybe max 2 or 3 minutes, guys, to stay with us. If you don't speak French. Marjo said, elle a dit, moi, honnêtement, je fais juste rien dire. Je me sens pas à l'aise de confronter la personne, surtout quand les gens te hate, non seulement parce que t'es une fille, mais en plus, t'es une French Canadian, ce qui arrive dans les jeux compétitifs. Elle dit, même si je dis rien, même même si j'ai l'impression qu'il n'y a rien à dire, c'est le laisser gagner d'une certaine façon, ça sert à quoi de perdre de l'énergie à essayer de changer le mindset de ces gens-là?
Ce que j'essayais de dire en anglais de façon peut-être un petit peu maladroite, mais en fait, ça devrait être vraiment une culture de comme, tu sais, aussitôt qu'il y a un comportement qui est abusif ou qui est inapproprié, c'est la job de tout le monde, que ce soit, mettons, sur Twitch ou peu importe où vous êtes en ligne. Là, ça pourrait même être sur Instagram, sur les applications de rencontres, peu importe où vous êtes en ligne, ça devrait être tout le monde qui fait comme « Hey, non, ça se fait pas. Ça, c'est inacceptable. Nous, on l'accepte pas. Ça se fait pas ici. » Mettons, dans un chat de Twitch, c'est un peu ce qu'on disait la dernière fois avec Epic Joystick puis Dominique Bamagne. C'est juste de dire « Écoute, ça passe pas ici. » Puis que ça soit le streamer ou, bref, la personne concernée, n'importe qui d'autre, tu sais, c'est ça aussi, être une communauté, c'est de s'entraider. Fait que je pense que c'est sûr qu'en tant que fille, puis que fille qui se fait victimiser, c'est vraiment tough de dire, OK, ben moi, je prends tout ça sur mes épaules, puis je dis à la personne, non, c'est pas correct. Tu sais, je peux comprendre que c'est vraiment difficile à faire, mais en tant que communauté, en tant qu'allié, qu'on soit fille, gars, peu importe notre genre, en fait, ça serait de se rallier puis de dire, ça passe pas, parce que, tu sais, à quoi ça sert de juste utiliser des mots ou faire sentir une personne mal parce que c'est en tout cas, parce qu'on la stigmatise, tu sais, c'est comme, ça fait pas de sens.
Je comprends. Donc, ce que tu es en train de dire, c'est que même pour une personne qui, comme Marjo, qui préfère ne pas se battre, genre, optimalement, si elle peut elle-même trouver des alliés qui vont l'aider, et ou si elle peut, de temps en temps, faire un effort, ça peut aider la société à long terme.
Ouais, ben, en fait, c'est ça l'affaire, c'est que c'est pas qu'à elle de faire les efforts.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Je peux tellement comprendre que ça ne tente pas, ou que, tu sais, quand c'est toute ta journée, c'est ça que tu vis, c'est sûr que ça ne tente pas, puis tu n'as pas nécessairement l'énergie pour stand up et pour dire non, ça se fait pas, mais toutes les autres personnes qui sont autour d'elle, c'est sûr qu'ils sont tous témoins de ce qui se passe, là. C'est sûr je veux dire, on est tous en ligne là en ce moment, on voit des choses, mais c'est à nous d'aller flaguer ces choses-là, tu sais. Même si ça ne s'adresse pas à nous, puis surtout si ça ne s'adresse pas à nous, c'est le temps de comme se mettre tout ensemble puis dire, tu sais, refuser ces choses-là, dans le fond.
Wiser and Cat Lap had 2 comments I really liked I want to talk about. Wiser said, I think the allies need to face the toxic reaction. If I try to help and I fear the reaction, I won't help at all. And I thought that was interesting. That was kind of like what we mentioned, how like we all need to get that burden, take the burden at some point to try to make a difference. And also Kat added, and it's so weird that we view simps or being a white knight as an insult. Just being decent to people leads to insult. That's so weird to me. And I'm so with you, Cat Lap. I've always said, good, if you're being called a simp or white knight, like, why is white knight seen pejorative? Like, why is it seen as a bad thing. I think white knights are freaking awesome. I think Sims
Being,
are awesome.
being emotional is have an emotional intelligence is really cool, gang.
Yeah.
Like, use it. We are humans. That's a thing that defines us. Let's use it. And let's also, and by the way, Cat Lab is my colleague, so she works at Madame
Oh,
also.
that's why she knows.
So, yeah.
I can't.
um, yeah, and I don't know where I was going to.
About the white knights and the
It's
Sims.
gonna
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh
you're
yeah.
doing great.
What I was saying is that when you enter in, whether it's a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or whatever app you're using, fill the room. Also, there are places that are like more loose on the rules, and the person maybe is more able to respond, and other people are more emotional or more fragile, or like, feel the room. And not everything is funny, and something may be funny for a person but not another. So let's just drop all these sexist jokes and those inappropriate comments, and there's a million other ways to be funny. And yeah, and being a white knight is really cool also. If everybody were like white knights, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, for real. A1 Legend, you said you have so much to say and it's really complicated. So I will let y'all go. No, actually, we're here to talk about it. So don't hesitate to drop what you think in there, and if we can help, or if Lena can help, because quite frankly, she's a much better resources than I have. Kevin from Facebook said you have to stop caring about those sexist comments calling you a simp. Point nine. No one should be on the receiving end of any of those comments. Obviously, either sexism or getting called a simp. More people should be standing up, but sadly, a lot of us are centered and afraid of being the new target. If you stand up, if we all stand up together, then they won't have any choice but to stop. Couldn't agree more, and that's exactly what you're trying to say, Lena.
And being called, using the words white knight or simp or emotional person, those are also sexist insults. When you think about it, you're using some features or some characteristics of women, or like traits that are most commonly associated with women, and you use it against somebody else. It's the same thing as when you call some people gay for treating them of being weak, for example. So it's like replacing some sexism by another form of sexism. So it's not cool.
Yeah,
It's still not cool.
I totally agree. Okay, uh, we have a question from Facebook as well. Have you ever been attacked because you wear makeup during a stream? If so, how should one respond? Not a lot of people seem to understand that we wear makeup for ourselves and not to impress guys. Uh, I have. I've been attacked for wearing makeup, not wearing makeup. Uh, like looking tired. You know, having cleavage.
Undressed, being too
Yeah.
dressed,
That there's a reason
being
why
feminine.
I wear
Yeah.
000 cleavage on the stream. I just don't
I
want to
feel you.
have. I just don't want to have any comment about it, so I just avoid it. I actually started even not buying cleavage clothes anymore, like ever. Even at home, I don't have any anymore. It was just like it just became a part of my personality because I was so fed up of like people looking at my boobs or talking about it or whatever. So now they're just I'm like I hide them all the time with double layers and whatnot. And what I like to say is I don't know. I kind of there was a point where I reached where I embraced the fact that I got older, that you can see my wrinkles, that I got better cameras, that you can see like when my skin is not the greatest, when I'm shiny, like, and I just started not caring. But I do agree with you. It's always hard for people to understand. But what I've realized is being honest with them works. So for me, being honest with the people that are assholes works for me. So I feel good because I didn't insult them back. I'm just being honest. Yeah, I love wearing makeup for myself. And if they are an asshole again, then I ban them. And quite frankly, maybe 50% of the time they switch. Oh, I didn't mean to insult you, or like, I'm sorry, that's not how I meant to say it. Uh, so, uh, so I think that would be my advice if I would have to say. Just handle it however you want. But me being just through and explaining it has worked. But also sometimes, Lena, like I don't feel like it. If someone insults me, ban straight up. And then I play around with it. It's my chat. It's my stream. I do whatever I want. It's my safe place. You're not being nice. Bye.
Exactly. And that's part of what I was saying earlier. You know, we have the power with the bands and with the mottos and whatever
Yeah.
to kick those people out, and that's a way of saying that's not accepted here. And now for wearing makeup, or for the how we are dressed, or and this applies for everybody, no matter what gender you are. um you know, you can be yourself, and please be yourself, and respect your limits also. You know, if you want to, you know, as you said, if you want to put makeup on one day and not put makeup on the day after, it's okay. You do how you think it's the best for you. And now I would like to um ask a question to the chat.
Okay.
How do you see those females in the online world, whether it's female streamers or female video gamers, or how do you perceive those female that use their body or their appearance to get success, to have success? How do you perceive it?
That's a very good question. I have a pretty big opinion on that. I don't know if I should reply
And I'd like to hear
before
it.
or after chat replies, because I don't want to taint. Like, if you don't reply like me, like I'll
No, there's no good answer as
Okay.
long as it's respectful.
Okay. Should I
'Cause if you're
start?
not, we will
then?
ban you.
Okay, the question was, Disco Rocky missed it. The question was, how do you see people that use their physical attributes for success in gaming specifically? So that's like very specific question.
Line, you know, like the OnlyFans things, or you know, Instagram with the, you know, the more explicit content, or whatever,
Okay.
whatever platform you're on,
So I'm gonna reply to that.
TikTok or whatever.
My opinion is very, very, very. So I've thought about this for years, and I respect them so much. For me, see, a lot of people are like, "Oh, why don't you do this? You get more views," or people are like, "Oh, I don't like this person because she does this and you don't," or you know. And for me,
Or
it's
some people even say, no, don't do that, you're worth more than that.
yeah. So for me, it's a multifaceted answer, but I'm gonna answer it the best way that I can. First of all, that means they're hella comfortable in their body, which is amazing. I'm still not comfortable with my body. I still have body image issues. Society messed me over. The image that I have of women is like the opposite of a Dove commercial, and I know that every woman should be beautiful, and they are all beautiful, and I think all my friends are freaking beautiful. But when I look at myself in the mirror, I hate it, you know. So these women that are like showing what they look like online and stuff, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, you're a champion. Not only do you look beautiful, but you're proud of it and you're showing it. And I'm so jealous of your confidence. So that's one part. And that's the part that's like my self-esteem. And then the other part is, Lina, how I feel that everyone has a place. Every actress of this world has a different, a different kind of sphere of movies they like to do, whatever. And we're not here comparing like Scarlett Johansson to Megan Fox, and or and we're not like, oh, this one uses their body and this one isn't. And I think it's the same when it comes to streaming. I think that they work just as hard. They have a different market, obviously, or potentially even the same market of people they appeal. But for me, I respect all the content creator. And there once, as someone commented in my chat and said, "Oh, I don't like this person, unlike you, like she shows boobs and whatnot," and I'm like, I fucking love that person. So I try to stand up for my colleagues when it comes to. So that's my answer. Okay, let's read the other answers. So eventually, nothing wrong with women doing that type of content. For me, it's the incels that feels attacked when they pay for the pictures and videos. They're unable to have any interactions with the women. They're working. It's a business. It's not something personal if they don't reply to you. Okay. I actually learned what the word incel meant very recently, and I still don't really grasp it. So okay. Someone on Facebook said, I see them as in brave. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I give them the power for utilizing what they have to have success. I don't watch them, but it's also sad all women are grouped with them at sometimes. Yeah, that's true. We often are all grouped into that category. But
I think
yeah.
something was very interesting in that comment. Like I think some people showing their body or using their body or their attributes is empowering. It's like saying, screw your gender stereotypes. You put me in a case, you put me in a box. That's what I should be. That's what I should look like. And some people are making money um, over women that are selling their bodies to get nothing in return. Well, that's what I will do, and I will manage it the way I want. So that's a really brave part, and I'm with you with the brave part also. I think everybody has body issues or has flaws that bugs them, and showing them and using them as a work tool, that's very courageous, and facing all those comments also. But yeah.
Did you want to add some stuff on this? I know a lot of people are replying in chat. But I see a couple more questions I wanted to touch, but I don't want to derail from that because I think it's also an important topic.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So Stephanie on Facebook asked, not me, someone else asked, is it a bad idea to reply? And sometimes, I'm going to add sometimes, and clash the people who tried to put you down with sexism in a game or a stream. Should I use another approach? And I love this question because I want to know that
Good
too.
question.
Because sometimes I'm like, bam! I'm like, shut up, you idiot! And I know it doesn't lead to anything, but I'm just so fed up. I'm also like at this my life, and I'm just trying to chill and game, and all of a sudden someone is like, hey, women, me, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, So, what should be the approach?
A really good and perfect approach, I don't think so. I think you must first respect your limits. So when it's enough, it's enough. I don't believe that violence is a great way to respond to violence, but sometimes, as you said, you're fed up and you have nothing else to respond to that, and you have no other resource. So that's like the last like weapon that you have. So I'd say anything to pass your message, but just like be aware that violence doesn't lead you anywhere, as you just said. But I think if you use a non-violent way of responding, for example, by banning that person, by reporting that person also, and you can do that whether you're a victim or an ally also, reporting those comments or the people that is harassing you, for example. So yeah.
Okay,
Would be my
there's
defense.
another good question, and honestly, thank you, because that will make me feel a little bit better when I go like crazy. Although I try to always stay calm, especially just because people know my name and I'm trying not to like have clips of me raging. But
Yeah,
sometimes,
that's another.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, okay, fuck this shit. Okay. Uh, Freaky Christo has a really good question. He's a man, and okay, I'm just gonna read it like you said. I'm a man, and I'm really engaged to defend women's online and offline. I just don't like the word feminist because I feel like it's taking the importance of the word for women. How do you think I can be called to illustrate my position without putting the spotlight on me instead of strong women's around me?
I don't think I got what he meant. He doesn't want to be called a feminist.
Yeah, so my guess could also be maybe he's scared of calling himself a feminist. Freaky, maybe you can let us know in chat. Maybe because sometimes feminist is like associated with being a feminazi or extremist feminist or whatnot, or maybe he just does. He's saying that he doesn't want to take away the importance of a woman calling herself a feminist by calling himself a feminist as well when he's not a woman.
Oh, yeah, that yeah, that's a very good question. I think if you are afraid of being called a feminine Nazi or whatever term you want to use, I think it reflects well how feminism is not um, most time is not understood well. You know, it like people think that some people think that feminism is about like making women shine over males and that males will lose their power. Well, I don't think that's going to happen soon because we live in a patriarchy. But I think you can be called a feminist, and I really find your reflection on not wanting to take the spotlight out um, of uh, of women good. Um, I could not answer for that part, but I think if you are afraid to be called names for standing up as a feminist, that reflects well how our society stands for feminism and for women in general.
I I saw a shirt that might help you.
A
Uh
shirt?
yeah. So it
Okay.
was a shirt that someone was wearing once, either on the picture or real life, I forgot, but it was written you're either a feminist or an asshole. And I thought that was great. And since
Yeah.
then, I realized that being a feminist, it's not about female power, although some can think that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
being
about equal power,
a,
you know?
being a feminist is about gender equality. Uh, and one day we'll find a word that is like for those that are non-gendered or other genders. That it's gonna be like somethingist for all the genders. But right now, the best that we can do is that word that we have, which is being a feminist. And for
Yeah,
me,
well,
I love it.
I think yeah, I think also like we can look at it in the same way as we looked at Black Lives Matter,
Hmm.
the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, some people rose and said like no, not only Black Lives Matter but all lives matter. You know, it's not you're too far. You're too far from what it's really what this thing is really. um we talk about Black lives or we talk about feminism because some people are oppressed and
Hmm.
some people are privileged. And when we talk about gender equality, the men or the males are privileged over any other kind of genders. So that's why it's called feminism. It's because we want to make the other genders shine. And yeah, as you said, maybe it's not inclusive because we don't talk about all the other genders, but but let's not change that word for now. Let's first talk about gender equality and making women shine also, because women deserve it.
I totally agree. Chat is going a little quick right now, so if I missed the question, make sure to let me know. But I saw that Tanner says that he has his partner wear a shirt that says feminism is the radical idea that men and women are equal, and I kind of love it. Being like, for those who don't get it,
Good.
radical is like ironic used here. It's like not radical. It's like just like a concept that is pretty simple to understand. Uh, but I think that that's a very very good approach. Um, there was a question I missed.
I want that shirt.
Yeah, I'm gonna launch these shirts again. Okay, hold on. Someone suggested for you. Can you just say that he supports feminism? For I forgot your name, but whoever didn't want to be called a feminist and steal away from the light, you can just say I support feminism. That's true. That's a really good idea, Kevin. Okay. Oh my God, I'm trying to. Okay, so if I don't have your question, make sure to reply. I do realize that we don't have much moderator right now. So Wiser is moderating. Thank you, actually. You're doing great, Wiser. Because there's a couple of trolls. We can't escape it. We're talking about feminism online. Oh, I do have a question. Okay, so before we started the stream, before we even started this conversation, which I think is very mild, we're actually like, we're not talking why feminism matters. We're just like, or go women. We're kind of just talking about, I want to say, the elephant in the room and how to approach it, that kind of things. Before we went live, the first comment I had on my Facebook was something like, "Oh God, this topic is gonna be trash." And all I can think about is that sometimes, just the word for a lot of men and even women, I would say, just the word sexism, feminism, or like anything that has to do about women's right, or like having at least a woman on the desk, or when there's a broadcast, or these kind of thing, becomes like heavy for people to talk about. It's like already there's a stigma about, I don't want to be part of this conversation, I'm fed up. But yeah, I think we're
Much.
and
It's
yet
much.
yeah, I feel that the box hasn't even been open yet. I feel we're still like kind of poking at it, and women are still like in that box, right? How can we start this conversation with people that are just like completely not open to having this conversation? Should we just not have these conversation with them, and should we just like not care, and whoever shows up? Like, how do you see that?
I don't know. I would personally continue to try to have conversations with them, until, like, as long as they don't open up their minds, and maybe I will pray for someday that their mind opens. But I think if you don't want to have this conversation, that tells a lot about your apprehensions and your stereotypes and your preconceived ideas. um and that's why we do this now. That's why we want to do it, as many times as needed, on as many platforms as needed also, so that it's common, and it's you know for in order for the box to open, and for women to stand up and to have a spotlight and to have a voice, and not only women. I think sexism doesn't only touch or victimize women. I think it victimizes everybody in a way, because it starts with gender stereotypes that's putting people in boxes and telling what men should do and how they should act and how they should look like, and how women, and it's a very binary vision also. So everybody that is not either a man or a woman, that identify to other genders, are not in those boxes. So um, when you don't fit in those boxes, or when you try to bend it, you become stigmatized. So those people that don't want to open that box is maybe because they're afraid of being outside that box and to live this kind of discrimination. So I think that as long as we try to have those conversation and talk about it, and if the topic becomes um normal and people talk about it, I think it's gonna become normal, and those people can tell how they feel about it.
Uh, I saw one question again. Uh, oh yeah, got it. That was a really good one. Dot cast Smurf. What do you think about positive discrimination? In order to make equality, my company is trying to employ women engineers since there are so many few, and the quality is bad. That's what he's saying. It makes me sad to earn the same money as them. I think it's not fair. One of my male friend who has more quality than other female candidates, my company didn't employ him just because he was not a woman. And I think that's a really good debate because we hear that a lot in esports, like how on a talk show or on a desk that's analyzing a tournament, we should have the 10 best guys, the test best people on the show, even if that means only 10 white male and no female. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, if we think about it, and what you just said just made me think about something. When we say we want to have the 10 best people around the table, why is it 10 white males? Why should it be like what? And that person, I don't remember the name, but is telling that it's positive discrimination. I don't think it's positive discrimination. I think it's just giving the place that those people earned. Because why is the 10 the 10 best people around the table white males? It's because there was no place for other kinds of people to become one of those 10 people, initially. There was no people of color, there was no women, there was no non-binary people, there was no trans people, because we don't make place for those people at the start. And that's why we perceive like it's positive discrimination, but it's just giving back those places that those people earned.
I completely agree. I've never thought about the beginning, and I do believe that at the beginning, whoever got the shot first gained the most experience. And now, yeah, they might be the 10 best, but it's often because no one else had a shot at it then. I really like it. Um, as far as uh your programming company, that or your tech company that hires programmers, the way I see it is you have to make a choice to hire diversity, because it's not just with the coding that someone should be qualified. It's not just with uh, it's not just with things that you think for you another white male um, it makes sense to
How-
you, and that's how it should that's how some person should be picked up. The problem with having not having diversity in company, or not having diversity on a in a company or in a desk on TV and whatnot, is that it is not representative of the population, which means
exactly.
that you're missing out on potentially future customers because you don't know what they want, what they look like, or what they think and how they see things. You might be missing out on soft skills that you don't know could make your company better. For example, whether it's communication, social, and within the company that can completely change a company culture and dynamic. You don't know about how it might inspire other programmers that would be more talented to see that there's a chance and it's possible to make it. when I worked at Ubisoft, what I noticed is that if we didn't have a female writer on the team to write the narrative about the games, the women characters were trash. They were just trash. And as soon as we had a woman involved in the narrative, she literally had to fight with almost every meeting to justify having more women characters in a game, and it made these women characters be so fleshed out, so much more interesting. I could talk about this for hours, but
It's so interesting.
it is very interesting.
I'm just like, yeah, I could listen to you for hours also.
So so
Because
that's how I see it. It's not about your friend that didn't get the job because he's quote unquote more talented. I think it's you have to think about it from a different point of view and potentially a long-term point of view, which will make society benefit from it. It's a sometimes it's not about the short term where that person, yeah, might be a little bit behind compared to another programmer, like when you hire them. But in the end, that company might benefit from having diversity that you can't even think of right now. That's my way of seeing things.
might and will benefit. It's like 100% sure that they will benefit from having diversity on their board or on their team or whatever. And that's the same problem as when we talk about salary equity or equality. um why do we still say that women don't earn the same amount of money for an hour as men do? It's not because the salary is different. It's because the positions that are open to women are different. There are far less job openings in management or in directions or executive positions for women and for people of color. So imagine when you are a woman, a non-binary women of color, how there are so many job openings. So that's the same thing as your friend that didn't get the job even though he was really skilled and he was the best. And imagine if you are those people that can even have a job because they are stigmatized and they don't, because they have a name that doesn't sound white. They won't be um, they won't be called for an interview. So that's another a whole other subject. But um yeah, I think it has some similarities also.
It's crazy because I remember my first interview with Ubisoft. It can even be a women bias versus other women too, because unfortunately I don't think it's necessarily our fault all the time. It's the way society raised us. But I remember
Mhm.
my first interview, it was actually a guy that fought for me to stay in the company because the HR, she was a lady, and she said she has a very strong personality. So I think she's gonna compete versus other women in the company, and that's gonna be a problem. And then the other guy was like, well, that's stupid. She's a world champion in gaming. Let's just hire her. Kind of. That's to sum it up within like two sentences. And after that, I honestly never had a single problem with a woman in that company. I am someone that like loves women and wants to work with women. So it was very interesting that a woman almost shut me down within a company because I was a woman and I was like strong willed and I was like, let's go, we're gonna do this. And it was perceived as negative by as someone that wanted to hire me. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And my whole career, I was always told it was negative that when I was leading in at UB, it was always amazing reviews, and then but your leadership comes off as too strong, or and I was just like,
And
okay.
for
I was just okay, I
yeah,
see,
and
okay.
for a woman to call you out like that, that's interiorized sexism. That's thinking that women will make trouble with other women or will gang up against other women. That's stereotypes. That's sexism. So if and women can feel it too, can have those stereotypes inside them and talk through these stereotypes, and that's also a problem, and that's why we talk about it to everybody. And that everybody should be aware of that also.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you're confirming how I thought when I heard about that. Okay, there's a lot of comments. I'm gonna try to go through a couple because I think that those some are really funny too. So I just want to make sure that we give you a place. Uh. Okay, see, that's amazing. I'm sure you guys banned him, but uh, do you feel like there is a constant fear you undergo while participating in online culture? And then right after, when I feel secure and I feel like we're in a safe place, he follows up with, also, could I see your melons? And I just think that's hilarious. Oh my God. And it's just like, I feel that we're having a online sexism discussion, and that just happened. And I think it's quite frankly amazing. You can see I'm all red because I'm like so astonished that it just happened. Okay, so let me move on.
So let's talk about anonymity online.
Yeah. Okay. There's a really funny other joke to follow up on that. The pandemic sucks more for guys because for every dollar they lose, we lose, the women, 77 cents. And I think that's also a very good one.
Oh, that's the way to see it. You know, the glass is not always half empty.
Oh, that's great. Oh, okay. So sorry. Also, there's another comment by the same person, and you're hilarious. I love you. Devil's advocate. The friend will probably have an easier time finding another interview compared to that woman. And that's probably true. Your friend might have been denied, but he probably will get a shot at a company faster than a women. Than a women. Jean-François, we need more discussions like that. I think that makes people scared, hella scared. I know. If I wasn't who I am, I think I would be really scared to have that conversation. And I'm like owning everything that I think about and do. So I'm not scared at all. Bring it online. But it makes some people scared to be identified with the extremists. And sometimes it makes things regress by going too far. You know, we've seen extremists before. Even if there is just a small percentage of that do not represent feminism. I want to ask a question about that. What do you think personally about people that go too far and like that swing the pendulum the other way? I think I know your answer, but I want to, let's have a discussion about it.
I think in terms of feminism, I think we are where we are today because of those extremists, because some women stood up in early years and like disobeyed to what was the laws or the social norms, and they didn't fear to do it together and to um to shout it and to be heard. I know that for in some cases it may um take a step back. It may make us take a step back. But I think we need those extremists, and we need those people to make the cause go further. That's why we're here today.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. A lot of the times when I learn about something or a new topic, or when someone tries to change my mind on something, when they go far, I can be very defensive. I'm like, no, that's crazy. And then when I hear a milder opinion about it, it's going to kind of open my mind. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I've heard this before, but this is more how I feel. Like,
Yeah,
it
well,
kind
I
of
think
helps me
yeah,
get there.
and it's our part to educate ourselves when we hear something that seems like extremist, or that seems too far off what we think or how we see things. I think it's our responsibility to educate ourselves, to go and read about it, to ask people about it, people that are concerned, or people that live those realities, or people that work in that field. We can learn in very different ways, and from various perspective, and that's how we can evolve, and we can go further. And when we are educated about a topic, we can educate other people, and have talks like we have right now, and go further in those topics.
I have a colleague at CLG. Her name is Summer, and she's my. Oh, thank you. We've gotten a couple of subs. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
definitely really appreciate it, guys. So my colleague, I have a lot of women colleague at CLG. Props to us. I think we're one of the front company or org organization when it comes to having women involved behind and in front of the camera. But she always says that sometimes she studies a lot in psychology and these kind of things, and she says that sometimes a message needs to be heard 7 times before you start changing your opinion. Um, and that means that if it's your first time talking about sexism online or just sexism overall, it's going to take a while for potentially you to even open up your eyes. So, uh, we had a pretty big discussion about BLM, especially because I work for an American company, and it's pretty crazy. And she was telling me, because I was like, why does it even matter to talk to these extremists, like people that are really against Black people? Can't we just like zone them out, block them, and like honestly, F them? Like I hate them. And she was just like, actually, engaging with them, even if it doesn't lead to anything, is really important because we keep repeating that message, and maybe one day that message is going to slowly grow on them and make a difference. And so it's important to know how to talk to people that have a different opinion without getting fiery or without like going crazy. And that's a big problem for me. I'm so bad at this. I get fiery really fast in an argument. Chat
Well,
knows. Chat knows I'm bad. Do you have any advice for us?
well, we are coming back to what we were saying earlier, when somebody asked, "Is it okay to respond by being rude to people
Oh
when
yeah, okay.
we get those sexist comments?" And it mixes with that question of about um, about extremists. I think the more you know about that subject, and the more opinions and different opinions you have, the more you can be I don't know the word in English, but like d'être plus nuancé. Tu sais, plus t'en sais, plus tu t'informes de différentes approches, de différentes opinions, ben, plus tu es capable d'être nuancé puis d'avoir un discours qui est adapté aux personnes à qui tu t'adresses. So, the more you get those various opinions, the more you can adapt how you talk to these people about the
Mm,
subject that is important to you. And it's not about changing how a person thinks or sees something, but just like begin a reflection, or get them to think about it, to really like get educated about it also, so you can give resources to that person, like go read that thing about that subject. Maybe it can open your mind, or have you seen this podcast or this clip, or we have, and with the online resources, we have zillion of options. So I think we can find some cues to tell those people when we feel like they are not ready. um and maybe the best thing sometimes is to wait, also to have a better moment, or a better momentum to talk about that subject with them.
I think that someone also nailed it. Sean in chat. My colleague also tells me that it's to it's to learn to be empathetic to where they're coming from, to better
Yeah,
engage their points instead of just saying no, you're wrong. And that's so
exactly.
true. That is
Yeah,
so true. I forgot about that. Thank you so much. I think that we don't know how to be empathetic. I think that's a I googled the other day the difference between sympathetic and empathic, and I realized I'm like I display more sympathy than empathy a lot of the time in my life, and I thought I was empathic. So I think it's always,
that's human.
yeah, I think it's
That's
super
human.
important to everyone should double check right now your definition of empathic versus sympathetic, and like really analyze how you behave when a friend tells you something, or when someone
It's gonna
opens up.
save you lots and lots of bad nights and
And also,
yeah,
it's gonna also help when you feel like shit when you talk to someone about something, you'll understand why you feel like shit with their response. A lot of the times when I feel like shit, I'm like, that person is being sympathetic and not empathic. So it helps me either say, it's okay, like whatever, or say, hey, can you be empathic? Like try to have a little bit more empathy. Like, oh, I'm not looking for an advice. I'm not looking for a comparison. I just want you to listen. And that understands me, that makes me understand a little bit better. So I'm glad you brought it up. Uh wait, hold on. I had another question I thought was really good. I should have made a document as soon as I see a question. I drop it in there. Okay, Marjo got a good question on Facebook. Do you think there's oh my god, I'm like this. Do you guys watch Schitt's Creek? Lena, did you watch Schitt's Creek? Oh my god, on Netflix, guys. I'm like Alexis. Um Ew. Okay, you guys can't know if you haven't watched the show. Okay, do you think there's less females in esports than guys because of the pressure and hate they're facing, or is it just because there's less opportunities for women? I think that's an excellent question, and it's also um, a really really hard one to answer. But Lena, can you tell me? Do you think that having that pressure, or having being a minority, or being exposed to sexism can't stop uh, a minority group, from being part of a community, pretty much?
think it can stop somebody 100%. And before that, I think that gender stereotypes also stops people from reaching their goals, or for from developing some skills, because it's not the place of a girl to play video games or to be part of a sports team. um yeah. um
Okay,
on
that's huge.
yeah,
I've never had like a professional tell me that before. Like, you kind of feel that it's like that, and you have to be like the most stubborn women and human ever to be in esports, because you're just like, fuck everything, and you just like get good. But what you
you
just
must
said
be
is
really
key.
strong, I think.
What you said is
It's the
key.
same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, I just like what you said is key. You said something, and I want to hear it again. You said it can stop someone from developing a skill if they're oppressed. That's huge. That's
If yeah, if for example, the best example I have is when we talk about children toys. So if a boy wants to play with dolls, it's really like it's a big picture. So if a boy wants to play with dolls, um often we will tell him, no, go play with the trucks or with the blocks or whatever. Don't 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 be emotional, or don't be caring. It's not the place of a boy to be caring, or um to be yeah, emotional. And that, maybe, if we think about it in the long run, maybe it will stop him um from learning how to care about people, from I don't know, maybe studying in some healthcare program or whatever. And it's the same if we think about how girls, we don't want them to play with trucks, or to play with to be like physical, to make physical contact with during sports, for example, because girls need to be clean and need to be pretty and need to be, don't we don't want them to make noise or to take much space. um so maybe it will stop them from developing skills for, I don't know, being a mechanical, for example, or playing video games, because society, it you won't fit in the boxes that society have created, or thinks about what should be a girl and what should be a boy, and those are those same gender stereotypes that I talk about for now an hour and 15 minutes.
I never heard this before. Uh, so I never heard that comparison where like, um, where it's like it goes from like as far as toys and as far as when you're like a child, where you're
Way before that also. From the moment that you know that when you're pregnant you're getting a boy or a girl, it starts from there.
wow. Okay, I know there's a lot of parents or potential parents in chat.
Mhm.
How do we try to be as least bias, gendered bias, with our
It's
children?
really, yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard because no matter how hard you can try to not be binary in your vision, you have people around you wanting to tag them. Is it a boy or is it a girl? And like, and many people, myself and many people in my family or friends struggled with that. Let my child develop as he or she wants to be. Um, yeah, I could talk about it for hours. That's another interesting thing that we can talk about. But
It's super
yeah, I think it's,
interesting. Uh,
yeah, and when you transfer those stereotypes to your children, it's major. It's how you're going to be taught to live in life. You transfer those boxes to your children.
uh, Nutty Mr. Bubble, your comment is really, really, really generous. Um, I hope you allow me to read it out loud because it's really beautiful. I'm gay, and those interactions when I was younger definitely caused some internalized homophobia that made me dislike other people and myself when I grew up. I was scared to try certain things. Wow, that's
That Thank you for this
thank you for opening up.
message.
Uh,
Yeah.
this is very, very interesting. It's honestly for someone that's been talking about this for a long time, and I see you and are still milking that topic. uh you're part of the problem. But yeah, so um this is the kind of interactions or reasoning or ways of seeing things I've never thought about before. So I'm freaking out right now. Um, and someone from l'anonyme spoke in chat, and I need to say it out loud. It's in French. So statistiquement, les enfants en bas de 5 ans n'ont pas de préférence pour les jouets selon leur genre. Après 5 ans, il y a ce qu'on appelle la socialisation. Les enfants comprennent que certains jouets sont pour eux et d'autres non, suite à des contacts avec la société.
Donc ça, tu sais, les couleurs, tu sais, c'est ça que je disais tantôt en anglais. Aussitôt que tu sais que tu es enceinte, puis que les personnes autour de toi euh, savent ça va être quoi le sexe de ton enfant, tout devient comme ultra genré. C'est comme soit tout va être bleu, tout va être rose. On va t'acheter plein de toutous vraiment doux et vraiment très féminins si t'es une fille. Whereas on va te donner plein de trucs puis plein de genre des blocs puis des trucs plus logiques puis plus parce que t'es un gars. Tu sais, comme c'est ça qui fait que on va pas développer les mêmes habiletés parce qu'on doit correspondre aux cases, mais les enfants, avant l'âge de 5 ans, comme ma collègue le souligne, ils s'en foutent, là, eux, avec quoi ils jouent. Ils veulent juste jouer avec leurs amis, puis plus on les laisse développer toutes leurs habiletés, puis plus on les laisse jouer avec tous les jouets qui leur tentent, mais plus ils vont développer des skills différents, puis variés, puis meilleur c'est pour eux. Tu sais, pourquoi on voudrait les encarcaner dans des boîtes? C'est comme pas logique, tu sais. En tout cas, quand on a des enfants dans notre entourage, on se rend bien compte qu'on veut le meilleur pour eux, puis on veut qu'ils se développent comme le mieux possible. Puis ben, après, ça, mixé avec ce qu'on disait tantôt, de genre la peur de te faire victimisées, stigmatisées parce qu'on est des filles dans un univers euh, qui est généralement attribué à des gars, que ce soit les jeux vidéo, ça pourrait être la mécanique, ça pourrait être les sciences, ça pourrait être plein d'autres choses. Ben, ça me donne pas tant le goût d'aller faire ça. J'aime bien mieux aller faire aller, mettons, dans les soins de santé ou aller dans des trucs qui correspondent plus à ce qu'on attend d'une fille. Euh, c'est ça, tu sais, ça va être pas mal plus facile, puis je vais me heurter à bien moins d'obstacles, alors que j'aurais pu pas mal plus me développer dans ce champ d'expertise-là, mettons, tu sais.
Je vais féliciter une de mes meilleures amies qui a eu 2 enfants dans les 2 dernières années, qui a forcé 100% des gens à ne pas savoir le sexe avant la naissance
Oh mon Dieu, la pauvre.
et aussi a forcé à ce que tous les cadeaux soient non, non genrés. Donc, c'était du jaune, c'était du beige. Il n'y a pas eu de peinture dans la chambre. Je vais lui dire bravo. Au début, tu sais, je comprenais, là, mais je me disais, ouf. Mais maintenant, je commence à comprendre pourquoi c'est si important. Elle a bien fait ses recherches, contrairement à moi qui n'a pas d'enfant.
Non, mais c'est juste, tu sais, c'est ça. On se rend compte de certains trucs, puis on est comme, ben, moi, j'ai envie de donner toutes les possibilités à mon enfant. Mais c'est vraiment tough parce que, comme Chanda, ma collègue l'a dit, tu sais, plutôt que l'enfant rentre à l'école ou même, tu sais, à la fin de la garderie, là, quand les enfants commencent à prendre conscience de ce qui les entoure, ben, ils se rendent bien compte qu'il y a des choses qui sont vraiment destinées aux filles, puis vraiment plus destinées aux garçons, ne serait-ce que dans les jouets, dans les vêtements. Tu sais, ils commencent à voir la différence. C'est c'est ça.
I have one question. Well, if there's no more question in chat, that could be the last question too. But I've always said in every interview that I've been extremely lucky because my parents. I was a lonely child. I had lots of no siblings, but I had lots of cousins, friends from all genders and whatnot. A really big family, and I was pretty much raised with like uncles, aunts, like everyone. And I've always said how fortunate I was because that means for Christmas I would get a Game Boy and a Barbie, and I would be dressed in a Ninja Turtle outfit, and the next day I would wear a dress, and then so I was just wearing whatever and whatever and whichever. And I always said that my parents never really raised me like a boy or a girl. They just like gave me toys. And it happens that sometimes there were blocks, Legos, and sometimes there was Barbies. But I was really all over the place, doing art, but really competitive in sports. So I wanted to do everything. And I feel that the fact that my parents were kind of pushing for this, like, and supporting it, whether my nerdiness of like loving comics and gaming, but like also cooking with my mom, all these kind of things. For some reason, I've always said in every interview that I feel that it's the reason I became a video game world champion because I never had a stigma before meeting medias that were like, what does it feel like to be a woman in gaming? And I was just like, wait, what? Like, it's like I'm different, Before that first interview when I was 17, 16, 17, telling me like, you're different. How does it feel? And I was just like, wait, what? I'm different? Like, I don't get it. Before that, I never saw a girl and a guy thing when it came to any activity, frankly. Do you think that it helped me? Like, looking back, you're not a psychologist, but knowing what you just told me, do you think it had a major factor in how I kind of blossom in gaming?
Probably. As you said, I'm not a psychologist, and I don't know you that
Yeah,
well.
yeah. 1 hour in.
Yes. um, but probably because you had all those options and because you were not tainted by outside views on what you were doing. And yeah, I think that may have had an effect on how you perceived yourself in the world of video gaming or media or whatever. And it must be quite weird to be asked, like, how does it feel to be different when you don't feel like you're different? and probably you've been also privileged to have all those options, and that's sad. And somebody was mentioning it in the chat: poverty vs sexism. When you don't have those options, that's another factor of why you will go more into these boxes and more with the mainstream, what's for boys and what's for
Oh, I
girls.
never thought about that either. You're right. I think there's a question from Tony on Facebook. We're coming to the end, so if you have your question, now's the time because we're gonna have to let Lena go a little bit. Croyez-vous que le manque de femmes dans le milieu masculin, selon la pensée populaire, serait dû à l'attribution de jouets en jeune âge? C'est un peu ce que tu as dit, là. Lorsqu'on donne un poupée à des jeunes filles, puis que scientifiquement, ça développe un caractère à prendre soin des autres et devient souvent dans la santé et autres métiers, là, il y a majoritairement de femmes. Ben, je sais pas ça fait combien de temps, Tony, tu nous as joint, mais je pense que c'est exactement ça que Léna a parlé plus tôt, right?
Exact. En fait, tu sais, c'est ça. C'est que non seulement, tu sais, la société, c'est ça, la société nous met vraiment dans des boîtes, puis plus on est jeune, plus on joue avec certains jouets qui sont plus destinés justement aux filles ou aux gars. Mais après ça, tu sais, on se rend compte aussi qu'est-ce qui est plus valorisé pour un gars ou pour une fille. Puis après ça, il y a aussi toute la... Tu sais, tantôt on a parlé de féminisme aussi, mais de toutes les places qui sont disponibles pour les femmes aussi. Tu sais, comme on sait que dans le milieu des, mettons, infirmiers, ben il y a des centaines, des milliers de places disponibles pour les femmes. On les... Tu sais, comme... C'est un milieu qui est comme plus attribué justement aux femmes parce que c'est de prendre soin des autres, de faire attention, de soigner les autres. C'est plus féminin, si tu veux, comme attribut que, je sais pas moi, justement, tu sais, les jeux vidéo ou les postes de direction, par exemple. Tu sais, fait qu'il y a aussi ça qui entre en ligne de compte. Non seulement tu n'as pas développé nécessairement les habiletés, mais en plus, si tu les as développées, ça se peut qu'il n'y ait même pas d'opportunité pour toi parce que on valorise plutôt autre chose ou on croit plus que les gars vont avoir du leadership ou vont avoir les caractéristiques nécessaires pour les postes, tu sais. Fait que c'est ça.
Everyone, I think this might be this might be
This
might be the end. Well, because I saw another question of like, this Rocky, should I just ask you your question? Okay, I'm gonna ask it because Rocky is just like a big part of the community. Do you think female streamers calling their own sport Sims helps invalidate the bad stigma about the word, or is it just actually propelling the bad stigma associated with it? So should I stop saying simp, although I never say it, but should other streamers stop saying simp or white knight with their own?
I'm sure that you should stop saying it because it has and I can't talk about it because I don't know that much about that word, but I think it comes from like disability, and that would be capacitism.
What's it in French?
Is it the capacitisme, je crois.
Ah, je
C'est
connais
quand,
pas ça.
mettons, tu sais, comme simp, ça vient de quelqu'un qui a, c'est-tu, une déficience intellectuelle ou en tout cas c'est vraiment un terme qui veut dire que la personne est pas entièrement capable, qu'elle a une dysfonction quelconque. Je me souviens plus exactement c'est quoi. Je crois que c'est la déficience intellectuelle, mais je suis pas certaine. So yeah, simp has a bad connotation that you should not use it. And plus, I think it will be propelling the bad stigma around the sexism and around the word simp also.
Okay, so I'm glad I never use
Ableism.
it.
Ableism.
Ableism.
Merci, Sandra.
Okay. Cool. A simple 10. Cool.
Yeah.
Also, let's keep our answers really concise because we want to go. But est-ce que vous pensez que se faire répéter à un jeune âge que tu es une fille te pousse à rentrer dans le moule pour un futur emploi?
Probablement parce que ça vient avec tous les autres stéréotypes. T'sais, être une fille, c'est quoi? Qu'est-ce qu'on attend d'une fille dans notre société? Puis quand je parle de stéréotypes, c'est vraiment dans notre société occidentale là, en ce moment, parce que les stéréotypes, ça varie selon où est-ce qu'on est dans le monde, puis selon les époques aussi. C'est pas les mêmes stéréotypes tout le temps, mais ouais, effectivement, ça peut contribuer.
Et Tony, tu dis, je trouve ça plate un peu de voir peu de filles dans les jeux vidéo, étant donné que c'est un plaisir partageable et j'ai de la difficulté à partager cet intérêt. Est-ce qu'il pourrait y avoir trop de pression sociale autour des filles face à ça? J'ai le goût de te répondre oui, selon moi, mais aussi, il y a une connotation négative du jeu vidéo aussi. Donc, lorsque une fille qui ne connaît pas le jeu vidéo, tu lui parles de jeu vidéo, il y a des bonnes chances qu'elle se dise jeu vidéo, je n'ai pas cet intérêt, tu ne m'intéresses pas. Alors que le jeu vidéo, d'après moi, ne devrait pas avoir cette connotation négative-là. Si on parle de sport, si on parle de musique, d'art, ça me surprendrait qu'une fille dise je veux pas te date parce que tu fais de la peinture. Moi, j'en fais pas. Et pourtant, avec le jeu vidéo, on a cette espèce de réflexe-là. Donc, on a un grand travail de séduction et d'apprentissage à faire par rapport aux jeux vidéo, selon moi, dans les médias, dans la société, pour comprendre que c'est un média d'expression, mais aussi une forme de divertissement comme les films. Encore une fois, tu ne voudrais pas de dire à quelqu'un « Ah, c'est un cinéphile, je ne veux pas dater ça. » Il écoute trop de films. Donc,
C'est comme, c'est ça,
voilà.
c'est comme un double stigma, tu sais.
Mm-hmm. Donc, oui, je suis d'accord, mais je pense qu'il y a une pression sociale de dire que le jeu vidéo est négatif alors que ce ne l'est pas. Donc, je pense aussi que ça n'aide vraiment pas. Donc, je t'invite à, s'il y a quelqu'un, tu rencontres une fille, à lui faire découvrir l'univers doucement, tranquillement et d'aller à sa vitesse, mais de ne jamais la laisser tomber parce qu'il y a un jeu vidéo pour tout le monde. Jeu vidéo pour tout le monde.
Et dit,
Lena, let's close this together. I want you to have a platform to talk a little bit about what's next for you at Lananim and how can we support you.
thank you. That's very kind of you. So what's next? For our project, I invite you to follow us on Facebook. We will be launching an Instagram account shortly. I don't know when it's gonna be, but it's been a long process, but we're getting there. So follow us on Facebook. We will be launching videos during October. We will be also launching our research report about sexism online. So that should be very interesting. And if you want to support us, you can also go.
She got banned, but I'm gonna
at the same time.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it. Hopefully that helps. L'organisme, I'm gonna allow you.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and you can click on that link and support us. You can make also. We will be launching a donation campaign on Facebook shortly. Also, so just get in touch with us. You can call us. You can email us and ask us our question. And for people that are in Montreal, we also have an outreach program. So we have a bus that goes along the city and makes stops for getting people material, for example condoms, or people that are using drugs. We give them safe material. So, and we also have like social workers working inside the bus. So if you have questions, if you want to talk with somebody that is empathetic and a professional that will be listening to you, you can catch our bus, and the schedule is on our website.
Good question. Does it still work? It's in the COVID red zone in Quebec. Do you still have a bus? Okay. Woo! Thank you, Dooming. Okay. Lena, I also want to say that we're gonna do a lot of content with this. We're gonna do probably a blog post with most of the questions we talked about today. We're also gonna do a little bit of social posts. If you want to share that and kind of spread the message, or even if you want to just steal quotes yourself and post them as yourself. The goal here is to spread the message. And that's why we did it in English, to reach as much people as possible. We hope that you like this. I thought that was an amazing discussion. I'm so glad we did this. Thank you for everyone that tuned in, especially on Facebook, since it's the first time I've ever done it. But my chat was super active everywhere. It was awesome to have you, Lena.
Thank you for having us.
I feel privileged that you contacted me to do this. Also, I want to let you know, for those who are watching this live, I'll be streaming today in 1 hour and a half the Red Game on the CLG Red channel. So I'm going to be casting with the Canadian A, the female CLG Red Game number 11 of ESCA season number 25. So make sure to tune in. And tomorrow, I have a really special stream here at 8. 8, I have a super awesome sponsor stream, and I'm really excited to. I think we might have shared it already. Let me just double check. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Lena. I'm wasting your time. Okay, no, we haven't
It's
announced
okay.
it. Go ahead.
Yeah, this just in. When we when our videos will be ready, we will
Okay.
send it to you so you can spread them out
Okay,
to the entire
let's do that too.
gaming community and
Let's do
entire
that
world.
too. Perfect. And so I'm gonna announce what's the partnership I'm doing tomorrow, later tonight. So I'm super excited. It's I yelled when I got that partnership just because it's so iconic. I'm gonna mime their logo. Oh wait, can you guess, Lena, what this is about? Wait,
For sure.
can you repeat that?
McDonald's?
Ah, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I
No,
didn't
no,
say it.
it's people in the chat.
It's
I
people
cheated.
in the
I
chat.
was like, I was searching for something in the like related to the gaming industry, and I'm not really a gamer girl, so I don't know very much about it. So, but McDonald's, that's huge.
It's
Congratulations.
amazing. So tomorrow, guys. But yeah, so I'm excited. But tonight, first, CLG Red broadcast at 10 p.m. East on CLG.tv. I'll be casting. Lena, on behalf of all my community, we are so happy that you and your team, you have a team in Anonym, was here today.
Yep.
And you're welcome to come back anytime if you have another topic. We'll create a Parlons-en. Let's talk about it.
The first of many.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're the sweetest. Bye, everyone,
Bye.
and have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.